What's going on, guys? In this video, I will share with you the classes that I personally found useful in my first job as a mechanical engineer. Now, this video is going to be broken up in three parts. The first part is going to be a very quick overview of the experience that I had as an entry-level engineer. The second part is going to be the classes that I found useful. And the third part of the video is going to be, generally speaking, the classes that I think all engineers should take advantage of and that they will find useful. Now, the first disclaimer that I want to mention here is that if you do not find the classes that you're studying now in the list of classes that I will be sharing, it doesn't mean that they will be useless. What determines what classes you find useful in your journey will be dependent on your first job, because we all don't end up doing the same thing. For example, if you're someone that is dealing with internal combustion engines or research, then maybe your physics and thermodynamics classes will be a little more helpful. If you're someone that starts dealing with the structural analysis and FEA, at that point, your mechanical design, your FEA software classes and physics classes will be more useful. Now, if you don't know this, a couple of months ago, I shared a video outlining my full experience as an entry-level mechanical engineer. And there, I shared that I joined an engineering branch of an organization. I do have a mechanical engineering background, but in that specific organization, I was exposed to a variety of different fields and tasks, such as performing lube oil analysis, contract management, equipment installation and removals. I also conducted a research study on diesel engines. I was exposed to welding. And also, I worked on site in an industrial area down in Charleston, South Carolina, in a shipyard performing maintenance. In addition to all of that, I also had to write monthly reports. It was basically like a monthly summary of everything that I was contributing to the organization. Now, looking back, now I'm actually realizing until the making of this video how useful a lot of the classes that I took in engineering school actually were. And the first class was physics and mechanical design. Now, these two classes were extremely useful when it comes to understanding how things behave naturally, and the ability to do free body diagrams helped me tremendously when it came to doing heavy equipment installation and removals, doing analysis of floor integrity, drawings, and writing technical requirements for contracts that I was responsible for. Now, the second class that I definitely found useful was mathematics, and of course, calculus, because calculus teaches you how to read graphs and data, analyzing the behavior and performance of systems and components over time. It also helps you with identifying certain patterns that can then help you make decisions on how frequently a system should be maintained. That was one of my responsibilities when I was dealing with a lot of data. I had to identify patterns and make recommendations to the engineers on how often a certain piece of equipment had to be maintained. Now, the third class that I found useful definitely was chemistry. And this is because when I was doing lubricant analysis, I was part of the team analyzing the chemical composition of each lubricant. Different lubricants for different pieces of equipment perform differently at different temperatures. And so in order to find a baseline and identify any type of outliers or behavior anomalies, I had to know the chemical components that were involved in that specific lubricant. So chemistry came really helpful. The fourth class that was very helpful as well, related to number 3, is fluid mechanics. When it comes to fluid mechanics, I dealt a lot with viscosity. And viscosity, if you know, it's temperature dependent. And when I was dealing with lubricants and doing lubricant analysis, viscosity is one of the parameters that you analyze, and you monitor that behavior and the numbers. And so that way that helps you make recommendations on whether or not you should change the oil of a certain piece of equipment, or maybe you should change lubricants, lubricant brands. Now, the other reason why fluid mechanics was useful is because it helped me get familiar, or it gave me a basic understanding on how pumps work, how compressors work, and how when these types of equipments were being installed in a certain area, I had to understand head loss and pressure loss, and fluid mechanics came very useful. The fifth class that I want to share here with you is technical writing in English. And I know you may be thinking, how is that even relevant? But hear me out a second. When we study English, we write a lot of essays. And what these essays do is that they help us put our thoughts in order, help us communicate more efficiently, and deliver our ideas eloquently. Technical writing, what it does, it helps you get to the point and helps you provide evidence and describe what is happening in a certain system, and it helps you deliver messages very, very quickly and efficiently, concisely. So these two classes definitely came useful when I was writing monthly reports, when I was writing my research paper on diesel engines. And so I am very, very grateful for these two classes. The sixth class that I found useful was definitely thermodynamics, because I was dealing with diesel engines. And so my thermodynamics class helped me analyze and find patterns in diesel engine performance, fuel, lubricants, and temperature, and like all this stuff. I can't remember all the single details, but I definitely do remember that thermodynamics was very useful. The seventh class was engineering design. Believe it or not, my personal engineering design class at Virginia Tech was a nightmare because they gave you so many instructions, so many steps to follow. And little did I know, the point of that class, as far as I know, was to help me get used to paying attention to detail. Now, this came extremely helpful when I started dealing with contracts, because if you know anything about contracts are very specific. You have to stick to the words, you have to stick to what the contract says, you need to make sure you deliver messages properly and very, very specifically. And so my engineering design class actually helped me get used to this process. The eighth class that I wanted to share with you is electrical theory. And yes, I know I hated electrical theory when I was much younger. Now, not so much, but electrical theory helped me deal with electricians, and it helped me deal with installations of electrical equipment. It helped me deal with switchboards, with providing power to mechanical equipment such as compressors and pumps. And so it came very, very useful to know Ohm's law and voltage drop and the type of wires that you need to use for different systems, how much power they require. Now, two more classes that I definitely want to share with you very quickly are speech. Of course, I did a lot of presentations. I don't need to explain this any further. And the last one is definitely statistics, because when you take statistics, you learn to read the data, you learn to make recommendations, to identify patterns, identify any anomalies, and make decisions based on what you see and analyze. Now, the last thing I want to mention here when it comes to the second part is that not only did these classes help me perform my job, but they also helped me communicate with other engineers in other areas, such as electrical engineers, ocean engineers, naval architects, and of course, the business people that I was dealing with when it came to contract management. Now, if you haven't found a class yet that is relevant to you, do not worry, because here I'm going to give you some general classes that I think you can take advantage of when you are in college, because I think that you will definitely need them once you join industry. And I'm gonna go over them very quickly. And the first one is technical writing in English. I already mentioned that they teach you how to write and think. Number two, speech presentations, because they teach you how to speak and how to communicate with other people, how to deliver your messages. Also physics and math, because they provide you the basic understanding, the technical knowledge that you need as an engineer. That's very, very basic. Also, number four, statistics. I think everybody's gonna use statistics and data analysis. And the last class that I wanna mention here is psychology, because this helps you get along with others and understand yourself and understand other people. But don't take classes on it, just read some books on it. And if you want some recommendations, leave in the comments below. Now, does this video mean that you have to memorize everything that you learn in these classes? Absolutely not. In fact, I didn't even know I was gonna be needing the knowledge from these classes up until I actually got to my job. But the one thing that I wanna tell you is that don't try to memorize everything. Just focus on understanding the basic principles, the basic concepts, and also be able to identify relationships and connect them, and be able to do some basic research. And rest assured, the things that you need will come back to you once you actually hear that you need them, once you are in your job. And it won't be hard for you to remember, because they were hammered into your brain when you went through engineering school. And once you hear about them again in the future, things will come back very quickly. Our brains are really amazing. If you are someone that would like to know more about my entry-level mechanical engineering experience fully, go check out this video right here. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace!